Morning guys, up at Douglas Street end, and the canal is pretty nasty up here. It's definitely this is a bacterial bloom as I see it. I don't know if you can see my probes down there, how close they are to the surface and how quickly they disappear. This is just standing water up here, very still, very calm. It's got a kind of white haziness to it. That is all indicative of a bacterial bloom. And if you can look across here, and you can see all kinds of little bits of ebullition, little bubbles coming across the surface all the way across the canal. That is actually organic matter, sewage, a carpet of sewage solids on the bottom of the canal that is now starting to decompose and bubble and off gas. That's what that ebullition is. The ebullition where we see it coming through the sediment on the bottom and carrying up coal tar. The coal tar hitchhikes on the bubble. The coal tar doesn't necessarily float on its own, but it hitchhikes on the bubble, and that's what causes the coal tar blooms. Their ebullition doesn't necessarily mean coal tar. Ebullition just means bubbles off gassing from the bottom somewhere. Yep, just got the results off the unit. Dissolved oxygen, middle of winter, water temp is about 38 degrees, and we've got a dissolved oxygen of 1.81 at the head of the canal here. It's real stinky. Bacterial bloom does not matter whether it's winter or summer. It happens faster in the summer, obviously. Warmer temperatures help all of that. Colder temperatures inhibit it, but it does not stop a bacterial bloom, does not stop any of the, doesn't offset any of the damage effects of combined sewer overflow, sewage in our waterways. All right, right at the top of the canal here, probably spreads down. I just tested it, 2nd Street, so it's always these top 3-4 blocks that struggle the most, whereas the least amount of tidal exchange. Yeah, this is it. This is open sewer and a full-on bacterial bloom right here. And here we go, luxury real estate going up. Amazing. Morning guys, up at 2nd Street dock here, and we've got our teacher from the Harbour School who's coming by and collecting water samples to test for enterococcus. So we do get a once a week when he's available, when the tide is high enough that we can collect a water sample and they can test it in their lab, the kids, and we can actually find out bacterial counts. Good morning guys, 4th Street turning basin. Very still, very calm this morning. I've been up to 2nd Street dock already, met the Harbour School teacher and our dredger steward member Corinne, who is compiling our water data stuff into more consumable, understandable presentations. So just doing my rounds up here, seeing how pretty the canal is, how the area is, imagining what it's going to be, you know, when it's done, more complete, more cleaned up. 4th Street turning basin right here is the pilot program for the canal, where they first went through the process of figuring out how to dredge and cap and do all the things. A lot of different bulkhead up here. I imagine all of this bulkhead being filled with habitat. There's some wooden bulkhead over there. That is probably good as is, or could have habitat fixed to it relatively easily that wouldn't damage anything. I would love for all of this to be just full of life. So I'm just gonna watch this thing come up. Remember 6 point something down. Oh, there we go, look, DO. I don't know if you can see it. 1.76 pH 4.8. Salinity is a little bit low, but not too much. ORP 214. That's higher than I would expect. Let's see what it cycles through. Comes up with the next reading. Should take about 10 seconds. There we go. 1.61. ORP 211. Temperature's warmer up here. 6.05. pH 4.8. Impressive.
Good morning, guys. Up at Douglas Street, and this is where all the bad water is. We've also got a pretty good size coal tar plume floating on the surface. If you guys remember the visibility of my probes from down at 9th Street, 4th Street, 2nd Street, and then up here, this is pretty easy to identify as bacterial bloom. It's just so cloudy, milky white. It's pretty disgusting. So the high tide brings in cleaner water lower down the canal, pushes all the nasty water back up into the head of the canal, and it is, you know, up there you can see like weird tendrils, and that's like super bacterial plume up there. I'll see if I can find some numbers from our harbor school teacher that was doing enterococcus this past Wednesday at 2nd Street. That should show bacterial count down there, and then up here is just way worse. Good morning, guys. Up at the head of the canal, Douglas Street. Looks like the ugliest part of the canal. Nastiest water quality. You can see all of the snow is settling, drifting up in the end here. The last time we had snow, it settled in the canal, blew up in this end and froze over. And then underneath it, a bacterial bloom just kept going. And when it melted, there was a nasty release of water down through the canal. So trying to see if it's going to happen the same. There's a little coal tar bloom right there, look. High tide. This is the spill through this bulkhead right here. It's really frustrating that there's a leak going on top of the remediated cleanup. It's coming through this bulkhead. I don't understand why this bulkhead was not done all the way across. The steel bulkhead here goes up to the edge, goes down to the bed of the canal, along the bottom and up again. I mean, I get it, there's a drain, there's a CSO outfall, there's flushing tunnel. This is a street end, DOT, you know, lots of agencies, lots of people. DEP own the flushing tunnel and the street drain. Good morning, guys. Up at Douglas Street. Canal's looking pretty brown and kind of green. Milky up here. Not sure what's going to happen with this CSO event. It was pretty nasty up here before. If there's enough of a flow of large enough volume, then sometimes it can kind of push everything out, all the way out. Kind of like do a reset on the water quality. I'm not sure that that's what I'm seeing right here. It just looks very cloudy, murky. So this could just give that bacterial bloom a whole bunch of nutrients and food and just kind of spike it, and off it goes. Just keep testing. Data is always the solution. Good data, good decisions. There we go. These guys are working. It's great. Cheering this project on. When this is done and comes online in 5 years, this will make a huge leap forward in water quality, and hopefully this kind of situation will happen a whole lot less. It's meant to be able to cope with 80% of the rain situation. Good morning, guys. Here you can see some stuff that the armor plate is designed to protect from. Prop wash from that tug pushing hard against that barge. Not sure why they're maneuvering, you know, that all of that stuff is like super heavy. They're maneuvering and trying to push it around carefully, push something, but that prop wash can scour out the bottom and you know, dig a hole through the remediation cap. So that's what the armor plate is designed for. There's nothing wrong with what the guys are doing with the tugs. You know, they're doing what they need to do, and in a normal bottom, you know, like, I mean, you can see when the guys are moving around up here, the plumes of black mayo and stuff that come up is pretty impressive because the canal's pretty shallow. All right, here Thursday morning, very cold, 27 degrees this morning. You know, just tracking water quality, just trying to get the data throughout the winter, see what makes a difference here. Good morning, guys. So I'm here at the mouth of 4th Street turning basin, looking down through the canal. Can you see way down there is the barge where the tug has been pushing, and right here we have a bunch of coal tar being blown up by the west wind along this strait right now, so I'm looking directly into the wind, and this is the kind of stuff that can come off the bottom. You know, that's why all the remediation is happening, why the dredging, why the capping, and how it works is so that when there's a prop wash like that tug moving that heavy barge around, that it doesn't disturb the bad historic pollution on the bottom. But there's a bunch of it right now, and it's definitely from that disturbance, and it's blowing up the canal just because of the wind, the direction of the wind. Good morning, guys. Up at the head of the canal now, Douglas Street, testing away. It's looking pretty milky to me already. That seems to have happened real quick. I don't know. Top of the canal is always the worst. Doesn't look to be any change. Just keep testing. See what the numbers say. Fair amount of coal tar. Doesn't seem the cold temperatures are not stopping that. This bulkhead leak is incredibly frustrating, and whatever the agencies are that are responsible for fixing the street end here, how it's coming through this bulkhead, what the remediation is, who's responsible for it. Just want it done. Top of the canal here is fully done, capped, remediated, waiting for flush and tunnel to come back on. That would help this water quality situation. You know, the tank here, the head tank, that's got like a 5-year completion time. You know, it's going to be a while before that kicks in and helps. So flush and tunnel is desperately needed. Wish we could get good information for what's going on with all of that. Morning, guys. Up at Douglas Street street end. Quite a fair amount of ebullition going on here. So I'm sure there's a carpet of poop on the bottom that's decomposing and causing that. Got this coal tar. It's blooming. You can see there's one out there a little bit further. Here we go, there's one coming up. So the ebullition, the coal tar hitchhikes on the bubbles and comes up with the bubbles, and then we get these little blooms. But when there's this much ebullition all over, you know, this is typical of a CSO, post-CSO event. Not sure when this happened. Been away for a few days, so haven't tested in 6 days. But this tells me there's a fresh carpet of poop on the bottom that's decomposing and causing this ebullition. This coal tar is still happening. This leak comes through this bulkhead, which is driving me crazy. All right, we got quite a bit here. All right, there we go. It's just fresh blooming. Lots of coal tar, lots of ebullition. Nasty water. Guys here doing the head house, working away. Massive infrastructure, cheering them on the whole way. Good morning, guys. Monday, 26th February. Been out for a little bit. Went to Chicago, not this past weekend, weekend before. Drove back. Also managed to catch COVID somewhere up there while I was there. So I've been out with that, but back in the world today. Not too bad. Second case of COVID was pretty mild. Still out there, mask up, you know, do the precautions, do your thing. Interesting that sewer water is one of the best telltales for COVID rates, numbers in a population. You know, our waters can tell us so much. It's awesome that, you know, that data and that science goes into work to kind of give us a picture of what's happening. But you know, we need to understand our water so much more than we do. That's why I'm a little obsessed with doing this in our waterways. Just trying to make a big picture of what is happening in CSO and how we can be better at living our lives on this planet. Good morning, guys. Up at 2nd Street Dock right now, just coming up to high tide. It's only a 4.5 tide today. We're at the low part of the spectrum for tides. It will be creeping up towards the middle of next month, where it's going to be some of the highest tides for the year. That will be our big spring tides, king tides. We're going to keep an eye on that. Try and keep everybody posted if there's any potential flooding. Usually the king tides do come up and flood the street end. Just depends on local weather conditions or rain, precipitation, you know, all of those things, as to whether we're going to get a bigger bump on that king tide. Happens every year, very predictable. The weather around it is not so predictable, and that's what we need to keep an eye on. Guys are hard at work. They are just cranking with this armor plate. It is bitter cold today. I'm struggling with it. These guys just don't stop. They keep going. Union strong, right? Really impressed with that. Morning, guys. Up at Douglas Street end. Looking pretty milky up here. Surprising, but I guess, I don't know, not that surprised. This coal tar is pretty bad today. High tide right now. Smelling really petroleum. Work my way up through the canal. Work barge is just off the end of 1st Street end right now. Yeah, this is very milky. I would bet that this is a bacterial bloom of some kind. Feel like I can see a little kind of tendril action, you know, like different opaqueness throughout the water. Generally means a bacterial bloom. Very still. Spring day, feels like a spring day today. Meant to get up in the 60s. Crew over at the head house working away. Impressive. Can't wait for that to be done, complete. 5 more years. It's gonna get ugly until it gets better. Here we go, guys. Douglas Street end. We got a big CSO event right here. Probably not big enough to push all this stuff out. You don't always get to see it, right? But here we are, a little concentrated outflow. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 condoms I can see right here. Oh, 6 right there. Bunch of wet wipes. This is CSO. If you flushed your toilet last night or this morning within this watershed during an active CSO event, so all of these guys, this entire watershed up here, right, it's just going to go straight in the canal until this tank comes online. The tank is designed to capture this kind of stuff, but until that happens in 5 years time, we're going to have all these units come online much before then. These are going to be full before then. Good morning, guys. Up at Douglas Street end. It's still pretty ugly up here today. Seeing a bunch of condoms float by. Maxi pads, diapers. Got all kinds of construction debris. Everything here. There's look, somebody tied a knot in that condom. That's the last bit. The end's gone. Oh, there's a red one right there. Redfish. Yeah, this is pretty gross. Absolutely disgusting. I didn't even want to put my probes through this bit. There's some pads, all kinds of flotsam. Everybody's healthy gut right here, all that fiber. And there we go, the luxury condos, apartments, whatever. All of this, right? So these guys are going to be occupied. All of these are going to be full and occupied. 1, 2, 3, 4 towers here before this CSO tank comes online. All right, here we go. That's poop. The remains of poop. Condoms, trash.